one thing that they both have in common is they both run loaded dice. So, at least this one does, so it'll be fun. As the players are getting set up, we are almost ready here. This is round 2 right now. We're about to go into out of 5 rounds, top 8 cut. And yeah, very fun so far. Everyone's kind of just chatting up the meta. What do you guys think Series 3 is going to be? What do you think Series 3 is going to be? You gonna have some use in Series 3? It's really fun doing that. Yeah? You gonna have some use? I was trying to like make its head yet. So didn't work. It's all good though. But no, I'm hoping we're gonna see some of the home Pokemon come back. I want to use Decidueye or Hisuian Decidueye, Ursaluna. I got a shiny Ursaluna in Pokemon Go. I want to like bring that up and use that. So yeah, but we are just about ready. You can see that they are connecting here. Almost ready to go. We're gonna get you going on that stream in just a moment. But emotional support Pikachu. What do you think? What's gonna be popular in Series 3 if it is home? What Pokemon do you want back from home? We're gonna possibly get an announcement tomorrow. It is Pokemon Day. We'll have I believe 6 Pacific time is when we're gonna get a Pokemon Direct with 20 minutes of new information. Maybe we'll get some news on Pokemon Sleep. I mean, the joke is like the developers have been sleeping since they announced that a few years ago, so maybe that'll happen. I don't know. But yeah, everyone's still getting set up here. Just a moment. But yeah, I'm one thing that's cool too is I want to say with Quinn's team, right? That Dragalge, we saw it do really well. I believe it was pretty close to top cut last time, and it just adaptability. Such a good ability for it. I mean, we saw it one-hit KO a Sylveon, which it is super effective, but Sylveon's known for having a pretty high special defense and solid HP, enough HP, where it can usually take some hits like that. So yeah, that just shows that Dragalge is underrated. Oh, it looks like we are going with Robert. Sorry, Robert here instead of Brian's. Here we go. So we're actually not going to see rain. We're going to see something else. Now Quinn is going to be on your left. Robert's going to be on your right. There we go. So Robert is a very regular player, and we're going to do the opposite. Like I said, but again, another fun Pokemon here is Slitherwing. We've not seen some Slitherwings, and Robert running a more standard team. Actually, we're going to see on Robert's side on the right, it's Amoonguss, Iron Bundle, Arcanine, Fluttermane, Iron Hands, and for a Giraffe. So pretty common actually. Got a lot of options there. Potential Trick Room, potential speed. I mean, you have the 2 fastest Paradoxes. While on Quinn's side, they are running Dragalge, Farigiraf, Torkoal, Slitherwing, Mimikyu, and Breloom. So right off the bat, very heavy Trick Room on Quinn's side, right? So Quinn with that Trick Room, see everything on the side. It's really slow. Like Dragalge is really slow. Torkoal, necessary to get that Trick Room off if you really want to survive without getting hit or risk it, because we saw last match, a neutral Roaring Moon could just knock out Torkoal if it wasn't choice specs. Like that would have been this deal, and this is Charcoal. So I feel like if you're up one-on-one against a few Pokemon, you don't have that advantage because you don't have that eruption. So you really want to get that Trick Room. Slitherwing is interesting because it has it could be bulky. I mean, its type is really fragile. It's got 4 times to flying, and flying is a really solid fighting counter. So a lot of people will run some sort of. And then at least on Robert's side, you have Farigiraf, right, and you have Fluttermane. Those are gonna knock out Slitherwing. That's why you have the Terra Fire. And once you get that pure fire typing, it's really useful. There's that iconic Dragalge on Quinn's side, and let's get started. Alright, so bringing it out here, Fluttermane and Iron Hands coming out. Right off the bat, fake out potential, and we know with Fluttermane here that it is got Moonblast, it's got Taunt, which we were talking about earlier, that Taunt is really, really important for stopping Trick Room, but Quinn played a very smart here. Mimikyu for a draft, because which one's gonna Trick Room? You don't know. One of them will, one of them may not, you don't know. So you kind of have to play the guessing game. For a draft, gonna start with Protect though. Iron Hands can't fake out thanks to the Armor Tail here, but we are going to see that Taunt go onto the Farigiraf. May have been the wrong call there for Robert, because this Mimikyu does have Trick Room as well. And we're going to see Volt Switch from Iron Hands. Getting out of there, it's a smart play because you do not want it in right now. Can't really do too much onto either Pokemon, and if the Trick Room gets up, you're going to want to have something that can at least handle Torkoal, because you know that's going to be coming out pretty soon. I still think Iron Hands is solid, but like Arcanine is a much better position. Plus you're going to get the Intimidate, which is going to help you lower Mimikyu attack stat move. Not running life forward, but it's still powerful, and there's that Trick Room that you're talking about. So yeah, now Mimikyu is crippled because of that Intimidate, and Ferdra is in a solid position. That's first, right? So it is more kind of like offensive. It's not full investment in bulk, which we've seen sometimes for Trick Room. And Mimikyu is still a threat, even with that Intimidate. You still have Shadow Sneak, which is going to do it like a lot on Flutter Mane, like definitely more than 50%. So you're definitely going to swap that Flutter Mane out. That Ferdra it's in a solid position, but you do have to watch out because Snarl Arcanine. Iron Hands is definitely the right call to bring back in, because now you don't have still have like potential for that, but if this Ferdra switches out or goes down, it's not going to have Hyper Voice, but it's bulky. That's what's important. Iron Hands does have the Assault Vest, and even after this +1 special attack, look at how much and we're gonna see Flare Wings from Arcanine now onto the Mimikyu. Mimikyu gonna live it though, which is a really nice for Quinn there, because they're not going to have to worry about like in this case, you saw how much Hyper Voice did. You can stall out. I mean, it may have been better to get that Torkoal up, but like in this case, Mimikyu can stay in and deal some really hefty damage on Iron Hands with Flare Off. That is going to be key. Plus, you did not get Snarled from Arcanine. Your Hyper Voice is +1. Now you should feel like you're in a really good position, because that Iron Hands is threatened. And I mean, it would have been threatened with Torkoal too, but just having that Play Rough is going to be able to, it's going to force Iron Hands to either switch out, and then if it switches out into something else like Flutter Mane, that's going to be struggling against Mimikyu too, because it's just anything physical kills it. So that right side is going to be really tough on Robert's side. Arcanine going to protect this turn. Psyshock going out first onto the Iron Hands. That's going to actually pick up that knockout. That's the power of Throat Spray for a draft. And now Mimikyu is able to just kind of do whatever with her Play Rough on Arcanine. I think here, honestly, you may just want to switch out Mimikyu. I don't know. I mean, it depends on really what comes out. I don't think they're going to bring the Flutter Mane back out. Oh, they are going to bring the Flutter Mane back out. Okay, that's interesting. You can protect and try and stall. I think that's probably the best bet, but like, there's not much you can do. Like, if they do protect, yeah, you kind of have, yeah, because Flutter Mane is going to take a hit. Whether it's going to, it is in a position where it gets you in the mind games if you're Quinn, because you're like, okay, if I Shadow Sneak, they can protect. Do I switch out my Mimikyu? But if they don't Shadow Sneak and they attack, then and I switch into Torkoal, then I'm gonna struggle. We're gonna see Mimikyu switch out. But this is probably what I would have done too. I would have swapped out to Dragalge, because now Dragalge's bulky. I mean, it's enough. It's in this case, and we do see the Flutter Mane protect. Now it's got that. There you go. That's exactly what you wanted to see, because we're expecting the Shadow Sneak. But Dragalge's enough where like even if it goes down, it wastes those turns that you waste, because Dragalge, you're gonna see Snarl, but Dragalge's still gonna do a lot of damage even because of adaptability, so it's kind of like it's just a neutral stab now, which is really nice, and that's still going to be enough to hit pretty heavily on whatever one comes out next. But yeah, what I'm thinking is like here, you just need to stall. I think like if you're Robert, you need to stall that Trick Room out, and bringing in Dragalge means that we're going to see a Terra here, but bringing in Dragalge means that that's what you need to do. The Flutter Mane is going to Terra to Ghost. But yeah, with Dragalge, like, when we're talking about what was scary is you either lose your Mimikyu or get crippled on Torkoal. Bringing Dragalge, it's going to negate either of those effects. So we're going to see a Protect here. And like I said, it is poison, so it's got some solid Snarl from Arcanine. It's not going to get Snarled, so it's still like neutral. -1, but the adaptability really helps there. Ferdra going to go ahead and drop the special attack again, though. Shadow Ball going to not hit that Dragalge, and see now for draft, go for Trick Room a turn earlier. It looked like that is quite solid actually, because it allows you to now, that's a really smart play from Quinn. They did a really good call there, because now they are able to reset that Trick Room or attack with the Dragalge, and that combo is really good. You could also swap in the Mimikyu if you kind of want to like save your Dragalge for the back, but the hard part here is that Ferdra has a target on his back, like a pretty hefty target on his back. So I think, but the thing is, that allows Dragalge to just hit. It doesn't matter if the Trick Room's up. If you target for a draft, and because like I don't, let's be real, Arcanine's not going to really do too much onto, they're like, best case is you're going to get that Shadow Ball from Flutter Mane onto, or now Moonblast thanks to this Terra Water here that we're seeing on Dragalge, but that's like your thing. You gotta basically Shadow Ball Dragalge. Either you're going to get your Trick Room up, or Dragalge's going to hit hefty, probably Hydro Pump after that Terra Water onto the Arcanine and get rid of it. So Flutter Mane going to go for the Moonblast, and it goes onto the Protective Farigiraf, which is, yeah, I mean, like I said, you don't necessarily need the Trick Room right now. Snarl is going to protect, so now Dragalge -2, but you are Terra Water. I still don't think you need the Trick Room up right now because this Hydro Pump from Terra Water adaptability kind of it neutralizes the Snarls enough to where Arcanine is still going to go down, and now you could swap out that Dragalge if you're Quinn and just dead it to where, like, okay, I'm gonna be able to reset my special attack drops. Iron Bundle being the last one is a bit of a tough position. It is, but it isn't, right? The Freeze Dry is going to obviously scare that Dragalge, and it's going to scare the Mimikyu from that as well. So it could negate the water moves, which then means Farigiraf can set up its Trick Room. So again, Robert's still in the same position, but it's a little tough here. Gotta double target. Dragalge's going to take a lot, do really small damage. It's going to actually get protect here, but still, even if you knock out and double down on this Farigiraf, it's who do you double target, right? Freeze Dry, going to connect with the Farigiraf first, doesn't KO, needs that Moonblast, so did call that protect double, or that double up on that Farigiraf. Robert did a good job predicting that, so I think just, it's one of those things now, Quinn's in a position where you've got to get it to where Robert cannot predict what you're next, right? And I think going into this Torkoal here is smart because you gotta predict, like, who do you hit, right? You have two heavy hitters on the field, even though that Dragalge is -2. The heavy hitters on the field are going to white power. Yeah, that Torkoal may have a target on its back now. It does activate Flutter Mane's Photosynthesis, but it is speed, so it's not necessarily going to matter. It's just now going to outspeed the Iron Bundle, which is it's interesting here. Like I think again, Dragalge actually going to switch out now, so that adaptability is coming back. This is a bit of a risk, but it's one of those things you got to leave yourself unpredictable, because if you go for the Freeze Dry here just like that on Mimikyu, it's that you're sacrificing your Dragalge. That's fine because you're going to be able to most likely get a pretty hefty eruption here. Shadow Ball, Paraghost. Torkoal's bulky, but I don't know if it's that bulky. It is going to deal quite a bit here. But there's the Heat Wave it is going to miss, because Heat Wave is unpredictable in this game. And that Heat Wave would have done solid. Bundle, not very especially defensive, so they're going to go down. Still a really good play, though, for Quinn. You just needed to hit one, because this Dragalge now can start hitting. So, again, that was a very unpredictable play from Quinn, and that's what you needed to do. Because, like I said, either way, using that Mimikyu as bait was really good. That Torkoal living was really good, because, again, it put offensive pressure on. Quinn was able to go for where either you get the Trick Room up or you get a Heat Whip, and it worked. Flutter Mane going to protect. It's solid because it stalls out, you know, there's just kind of see what they're going to do. We're going to see Draco Meteor from Dragalge, and Torkoal going to go for the Whip. But it's not, here at this point, you just got to hope for a miss, because if you're Robert, and this was all a testament to what I was saying with Quinn. They were able to move their Pokemon into position, like, which one, make Robert think, which one do I hit? Which one is the one that is going to be more threatening? And either way, it puts him in a position where, it puts Robert in a position where, like, whichever one you hit is going to, and that the Shadow Ball is not going to KO the Dragalge here. So that Draco Meteor are going to connect on the no longer Fairy Flutter Mane, and at this point, you just gotta go for that, hope that Heat Wave hits. And it does, and that's going to give Quinn a win. But yeah, so I really have to praise Quinn for their amazing playing in that match, because once you position your Pokemon to where you make your opponent think, if I attack this one, there's a downside, but if I attack the other one, there's also a downside, that's really, really good thinking. And I think we saw that in this matchup, where we saw, if I attack this Mimikyu, then I get Heat Waved in the sun from a Torkoal. But if I don't, and I hit the Torkoal instead and get rid of it, and then they get their Trick Room up, and they're able to go for a Sludge Bomb and just destroy with an adaptability Dragalge, which would have, I mean, when you look at it, Draco Meteor, Sludge Bomb, we know the Iron Bundle was not going to take those, and then still had Mimikyu then, right? So if you could Shadow Sneak onto the Flutter Mane, it would have been a lose-lose either way. So Really, really, really good positioning from Quinn. I don't think they need to change anything. I think that was just a solid pick going, especially the double trick room, because when you look at Robert's team, that taunt on the Flutter main was pretty much the main way to stop trick room, and going for double trick room with your Quinn, that taunt is no longer in. It's like a mind game, 50-50 chance, right? So I think that is very smart. Robert could switch things up here. I think honestly, you kind of have to just play into the trick room, because it's so like it's so unpredictable that it's not. Even if you do end up stopping it with taunt, like there's not much you can do, right? I mean, because we saw in the last match, Quinn knows how to play around getting taunted. So interesting options from Quinn. I think Robert, though, if you go for that same lead where like you do have a taunt, and there is it's like if there is one specific Pokemon that does have Trick Room, whether it is Giraffe or whether it is Mimikyu, the hard part is Quinn will know that, and you can. At that point, if you're Quinn, you switch, right? Or you could attack the Flutter main, get rid of it, because it's wasting a turn stopping your Trick Room, which may not. You may switch and get into a better position if you see Flutter main, because you did see it in the last match. So if that see Flutter main again, you can assume Taunt's going to come out, and if you assume Taunt's going to come out, you could switch into something that will benefit from that. Like, there's a lot. I mean, basically, I'm a lot of Quinn's Pokemon sacrificing protect, like, and like Slitherwing, Dragalge, etc. So, Flutter main, Iron Bundle coming out from Robert's side. I do think this is a solid lead. Slitherwing, Mimikyu on Quinn's side. This is interesting too, because I don't know if Trick Room is the best. You do have, because it is predictable. So it's a mind game scenario. Are they going to taunt me? Should I Shadow Sneak their Flutter main and get rid of it because they know I'm going to go for Trick Room? Or are they going to attack me, go for an Icy Wind Shadow Ball combo on Mimikyu and get rid of it before I even move? So, but then I still Shadow Sneak and get rid of their Flutter main. So it's like one of those things where it's a 50-50 matchup. I do think switching is probably the best bet. Here. We're going to see that Iron Bundle switch out for Robert. Not expecting, and we're going to see Fridge come in, so I'm probably not expecting a Trick Room here, especially when you look at Quinn's side. Their Pokemon are relatively fast. Mimikyu and Slitherwing are not the slowest Pokemon on their team. I think Slitherwing potentially being the fastest. But Torkoal going to come out, going to activate not only the booster energy or the Pro Synthesis for Flutter main, but also going to activate Slitherwing's Protosynthesis. And we saw in the last match of Flutter main's speed, Slitherwing's attack. This is going to be a lot of damage. Shadow Ball going to do solid on Torkoal, not with Terra Ghost, so it's still going to do a lot though. But that Flare Blitz from Slitherwing is just going to get that Flutter main the range for anything to knock it out. And I think that was really, really smart. Again, one thing that I've noticed with Quinn, and I said it again, is really good at calling what the opponent's going to do. We saw it there. We saw Robert expected potential Trick Room, switching into Farigiraf, right? But at the end of the day, it ended up costing Flutter main down to Sash. And even though, yeah, Flutter's faster, can't really hit that much, and Slitherwing most likely is going to be faster than that Farigiraf. So it's going to be able to move first. You're kind of sacrificing your Torkoal, but it's going to end up helping you in the long run. Terra Fairy coming out from Robert's Farigiraf here. I think that's gonna at least help for potential close combat or lead life. Slitherwing can have, yeah, Flutter main's just gonna protect here. You can't really do much with it. Slitherwing gonna protect here. Definitely, I think was expecting Slitherwing to hit something, and Psychic gonna connect with the Slitherwing, so Torkoal's free to do whatever. I was expecting I mean, when you look at it, I was expecting like either I mean, Psychic was a good option, but I was expecting to go on Torkoal because you don't hit that Torkoal. It does a lot of damage, and it burns the Farigiraf. So Robert's in a tough position. Yeah, I think targeting the Slitherwing, I don't know if that was necessarily a call. I think Torkoal was a bit more threatening there, but it may pay off at the end of the game. But now with Slitherwing, I mean, it's free to do whatever. I mean, as we saw, it does have Terra Fire still in play, so like at that point it resists pretty much everything but Shadow Ball from Flutter main, and it's got solid special defense, so like the Slitherwing can take that and then just return the favor and get rid of it. I still think Torkoal is kind of an underrated, or like a lot of people kind of assume, oh, if Torkoal doesn't get heat or Trick Room up, then it's not going to be eruptions. It's still powerful. We just saw how powerful it was. It did some solid damage outside of Trick Room. There's that Terra Fire for Slitherwing. That's really useful because now Robert can't really hit Slitherwing that hard. You got rid of the fairy weakness, you got rid of the psychic weakness, so Torkoal going to protect this turn, and if Moonblast going onto that fire, Slitherwing's not going to do a lot. So yeah, again, that Terra was great. Leech Life, not enough to knock out for a draft, but that burn damage is maybe gonna just do it here. But definitely crippling it. For draft going for the psychic, now that Torkoal was able to move, again, mind games. Okay, they saw how threatening Torkoal can be outside of Trick Room, now I'm going to protect it, and it worked. The good news, though, for Robert is that Draft lived 1 HP pretty much. At this point, yeah, you're still threatened by that Fluttermane. It still does a lot. Moonblast obviously was the wrong call, but Shadow Ball, it would definitely knock out Torkoal, potentially knock out Slitherwing. Iron Hand's a really good switch in for Robert here. Now you have fake out options on the field, and we are going to see Mimikyu come in, so that fake out would go on to Slitherwing. That Mimikyu switch in I think was really wise as well, because you know now at this point, okay, for a draft, it can't really do too much, and it won't knock out my Mimikyu. This hit from Fluttermane would normally have knocked out my Torkoal. Now it is just going to break my Mimikyu's disguise, and I put the pressure on it with Shadow Sneak. So Quinn in a very good position here. I think Slitherwing is kind of, it's not necessarily a sitting duck, but it can't really do too much compared to Iron Hands. It can obviously Flare Blitz, which is amazing. But Iron Hands is bulky, will probably go down that. So the question is, do you want to sacrifice it, or do you want to switch out that Slitherwing and preserve it for a later? It also potentially could get faked out by the Iron Hands. Well, Mimikyu kind of has a straightforward play. I mean, you can go for that Shadow Sneak onto the Fluttermane. Obviously, Fluttermane could protect, and then Iron Hands could go for the hit on Mimikyu. So again, 50-50 matchup, but the obvious play is the Shadow Sneak on Fluttermane. So the question is that what's really going to happen or not? Iron Hand's going to actually swap out here. Gonna go into, what looks to be the Fur Draft. Gonna kind of sacrifice that Fur Draft so you can bring the Iron Hands back out and reset that fake out. Taunt coming out, so Mimikyu cannot go for Trick Room. I guess Robert was scared of Trick Room. I think at this point, you just don't Trick Room. Play Rough gonna go onto the Fur Draft. Which is smart because that allows you, like, it's like, okay, cool, if I hit the Iron Hands, great, if not, whatever, but my main goal is to get rid of this Fluttermane, and I'm going to do that with Slitherwing, and that's exactly what Quinn ended up doing. So I think that was a really wise play there. I didn't even think that the Trick Room was really going to be that big of a threat there. It's smart now because you don't have Trick Room potential, but yeah, I thought Mimikyu was just going to, like if I'm at 1 HP of Fluttermane and I see Mimikyu, I'm scared, because I mean, that thing is going down. Slitherwing is going to lose that photosynthesis attack boost, but this also just shows how powerful Slitherwing is. I mean, it's kind of an underrated Pokemon. I've been saying this the whole format. Like, it does so much damage, not to mention the boost from the sun, and now it's Terra in the sun. Like, that is so much damage. But yeah, now it's just Iron Bundle and Iron Hands versus the entirety of Quinn's remaining team. However, no Trick Room potential. Fake out potentially on that Slitherwing. I think this is the time where if you're going to protect, this is it. Iron Bundle is in a better position because you don't have the sun up, but you do have that Torkoal for the back, so it's going to be a bit scary. Yeah, Slitherwing's going to protect. If that fake out is happening, it's not going to happen on Slitherwing, but it does not actually. We don't see fake out from the Iron Hands. We're going to see Icy Wind come on out here from the Iron Bundle. It is going to go ahead and crit on that Mimikyu, so it does a little bit more than normal. Play Rough going out to the Iron Bundle does around 50% on it, and that Mimikyu is not Life Orb, so that's really solid. But the Wild Charge, very smart there. Definitely expected, Robert, definitely expected that Quinn would protect on that Slitherwing and decided to take the opportunity to get rid of the Mimikyu. But now in a solid position, I think Quinn's still in a solid position, because when you look at what potentially is in the back, those Pokemon just hit Robert's Pokemon. Torkoal with the Drought, now going to reactivate that photosynthesis on Slitherwing. You still have to worry a bit about the Iron Bundle, but like, not necessarily really. It can knock out Torkoal in one turn here, but Slitherwing is most likely going to outspeed the Iron Hands. And when you're in the sun, Terra Fire with your photosynthesis boost, there's a real good chance that your Flare Blitz will knock out the Iron Hands. Iron Bundle going to protect here. Yeah, you kind of have to preserve it and hope that. So then we're going to go for Leech Life on the Iron Bundle. Okay, I thought that was going to go for the Iron Hands. I think Iron Hands is kind of the threatening one here. because of that. Drain Punch on Slitherwing does quite a bit of damage. And it puts it in range where potentially Iron Bundle can pick up that knockout, but we are going to see that Heat Wave from Torkoal. It's not going to connect with the Iron Bundle. I totally thought going with in the back that Iron Bundle would just hit. Oh, and the Iron Hands is going to miss that Heat Wave. See, yeah, that's what I was actually thinking. Like, I was like, I would have totally just gone for that Flare Blast on the Iron Hands. I was like, because I'm worried about that Heat Wave. Oh, that may cost Quinn here, especially now that the Iron Bundle is gonna be able to move first. Iron Bundle has to kind of pick here. Who do you target? Do you target Slitherwing? You target, yeah, you have to obviously worry about that Hydro Pump miss, but picking the Slitherwing, which is definitely the more threatening one, and Quinn's Slitherwing is gone. So now we have this, this Torkoal at 60 HP versus an Iron Hands. Going for that Drain Punch. It's not enough to get rid of the Torkoal, which means Torkoal may still be able to take this game. And the Heat Wave does connect with Iron Bundle. I think that was close, but I think Quinn's going to be able to pick this one up here. When you take a, especially when you take a look at this last Pokemon here, which is Breloom, and this is what's really nice here. Breloom most of the time is faster than Iron Hands. You have potential for Spore. You have potential for Bullet Seed. Torkoal gonna protect here. Torkoal not gonna even risk it. I'm not going for another Heat Wave. I missed one. There's that Bullet Seed. That's gonna be close here. I don't know if it's gonna KO. And the good news is it's gonna hit at least 4. If it hits this 5th one, it hits the 5th. That's enough, and that means Quinn is gonna take this match. That was a nail biter at the end. I think it was a risky play not going for Leech Life on Bundle. I mean, they obviously could have been scared of the Bundle going for that like Hydro Pump, but man, that was just nerve-wracking when you paid attention to that Heat Wave miss, especially. Like, once that Heat Wave missed, it was like, oh, this is not in Quinn's favor. And luckily Breloom was able to do it, but again, it came down to a roll. It was 4 to like, if it was a 4 Bullet Seeds, then it would have been tough, especially because Iron Hands, I mean, Breloom's pretty fragile, so it would come down to like an Iron Hands hit onto the Breloom. So it was like one of those matches where you just don't know what's going to happen. You're on the edge of your seat trying to find out what's going to happen. It was really, really exciting. But again, I think what we have to pay attention to here in this matchup and what really shined was Quinn's ability to switch out at the right time and put Robert in a position where we don't know which one I'm going to hit if you're Robert, and just whichever one you do hit, there's a downside to not hitting the other one. And being able to put pressure with both of your Pokemon on the field is such an amazing, amazing opportunity that Quinn was able to grasp. So we'll be back for round 3 in a few moments, and Emotional Support Pikachu is going to be here being like, why are you talking so much? Let me talk. No, I'm just kidding. We'll see you guys later.